The Circular Integrity Show, the premier podcast and information source for leaders in the ITAD and IT reseller community, with a focus on growth strategies, IT lifecycle services, and making sustainability profitable and beneficial to the environment.
Welcome back to the Circular Integrity Show, and more from part one of our series on data center metrics, where we cover trends in the data center secondary market segments and what they mean to ITADs and IT resellers. This series unpacks IDC's latest research, revealing the massive $758 billion global AI infrastructure market and its profound implications for the ITAD sector. So join us for the second part of part one of Inside the $758 billion Infrastructure Revolution. Lara, frame the big picture for me. IDC recently published research showing that as cloud providers accelerate their AI offerings, we're seeing some fundamental shifts in how organizations think about their infrastructure investments. Can you set the stage for us? What's driving this massive wave of AI infrastructure spending?
Absolutely. What we're seeing is unprecedented demand for the AI capabilities across virtually every industry sector. Cloud providers, your Amazons, Microsoft, Googles of the world, are racing to build out the AI infrastructure to meet this demand. But here's what's interesting. This isn't just about buying new equipment. The economics of AI infrastructure are forcing organizations to think much more strategically about sourcing, about lifecycle management, and yes, what happens to those assets after their initial deployment.
I see, and that's where this concept of cascading GPU servers comes in, right? For our listeners who might not be familiar with this term, can you explain what that means?
Yeah, sure. Cascading is the practice of redeploying servers from one workload type to another. For GPU servers, especially as technology evolves or business needs change, it's really important. You could think of it this way. A GPU server that was initially deployed for a cutting-edge AI training use case, for example, might, after a year or two, be perfectly suitable for AI inference workloads or other high-performance computing tasks, and consolidation, by the way. So instead of retiring that asset, you can extend its useful life by cascading it to another use.
Yeah, so that makes perfect sense from a sustainability standpoint, but I imagine there are strong business drivers here too.
Yeah, absolutely, Pete. In fact, our research shows that cost efficiency is the number one driver. These GPUs are expensive, after all. We're talking tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars per unit. So when you can extend the life of that asset and get additional value from it, the ROI calculation changes dramatically. But it's not just about cost. Organizations are also dealing with budget constraints and availability challenges, right? There are still supply chain issues with cutting-edge GPUs, and increasingly, they're being held accountable for related sustainability goals. So cascading addresses all of these pressures simultaneously.
Let's talk about those sustainability goals for a moment, because this is really where circular economy principles come into play. What are you hearing from organizations about how this fits into their broader environmental responsibility strategy?
This is a fascinating area, Pete. What we're finding is that outside of traditional heavy industries like manufacturing, mining, or energy, most organizations really look to two primary areas to drive sustainability. Number one, their commercial buildings, and number two, their IT departments. IT infrastructure, particularly in the cloud and data center, represent the massive opportunity for the environmental impact. So when organizations are selecting their cloud providers and IT asset disposition partners, they're increasingly looking for what I like to call like-minded partners on their sustainability journey.
Lara, let's talk about the sustainability angle, because this could go one of two ways. Either we create a massive e-waste problem or we create a massive circular economy opportunity. Which way is it going?
That's the critical question, Pete. The AI boom has the potential to be an environmental disaster if we don't handle it correctly. We're talking about equipment with significant embodied carbon, right? The manufacturing process for servers, especially those with GPUs, is energy and resource intensive. If this equipment ends up in landfills after just 2 to 3 years, that's a sustainability catastrophe.
Flip side.
The flip side is that this equipment is still highly functional and valuable, right? Unlike true obsolescence, where equipment can't perform any useful function, these displaced servers can handle that wide range of workloads for years to come, right? As we've discussed. So the challenge is building that infrastructure to capture that value. It's efficient logistics, it's rigorous testing and certification, it's secure data destruction, refurbishment, and remarketing. This is where circular economy principles become essential.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. Now, what role do you see for certification and standards in this market?
Increasingly important. As the volume grows, buyers need confidence that they're getting equipment that's been properly tested, certified, and has had that data securely erased. ITAD providers who can offer robust certification, the warranties, and those transparent processes will command premium pricing, and they'll build the long-term customer relationships. And that's especially critical given that much of this equipment was handling sensitive AI workloads and data.
So looking ahead to 2029, when you're projecting the $758 billion in AI infrastructure spending with accelerated servers, and it's accounting for about 94% of the market, what does the secondary market landscape look like then?
Yeah, I think we'll see a mature and sophisticated secondary market that's significantly larger than today. The successful players will be those who can efficiently process those high volumes, who can accurately assess and certify equipment, and can connect the supply with the evolving demand patterns globally. There will also be specialization. Some providers who focus on hyperscaler equipment, others on enterprise gear, and still others on specific geographies or use cases. And again, right, sustainability will be a key differentiator. Buyers are increasingly going to prioritize vendors who can demonstrate environmental responsibility.
What does that look like in practice?
It means demonstrable commitment with measurable goals. Organizations want to see KPIs around sustainability, energy consumption metrics, and reuse rates, recycling statistics, things like that. They want partners who can report on these metrics transparently. And of course, energy consumption is the big one because AI workloads are so incredibly energy intensive. So on the other hand, anything that can extend asset life and reduce that need for manufacturing has a strong impact on the environmental impact from a circularity perspective.
Yeah, so I want to dig into some of the practical challenges here because cascading GPU servers at scale isn't as simple as just moving equipment around. What are the key obstacles organizations face?
You've hit on something critical. The challenges fall into several categories, but let me highlight the big ones. First, there's logistics at scale. So for example, Iron Mountain is an example of an ITAD service organization today and into lifecycle management that is handling these services. They'll do the IMAC work, right? That's install, moves, adds, and changes related to cascading these assets. When you're talking about hyperscale cloud providers or large organizations, you're not moving dozens of servers, you're moving thousands or tens of thousands. The coordination required for that is immense. Second, and this is huge, right? Security and data sanitization. These servers have been processing sensitive workloads, potentially proprietary AI models, customer data, you name it. The data erasure process has to be absolutely bulletproof and it has to be fast. Speed and velocity matter because these assets represent capital that's sitting idle if they're not redeployed quickly.
Looking ahead, Lara, what trends should we be watching in this space over the next 12 to 24 months?
Few things stand out. First, I think we'll see more formalization of cascading strategies. Right now, many organizations are figuring this out as they go, and I expect we'll see more structured programs with defined policies and processes. Second, the role of AI in managing AI infrastructure, its life cycle, right? There's going to be some more sophisticated tools for predicting optimal cascade timing, automated testing, validation, optimizing those redeployment decisions using AI. Finally, third is the sustainability requirements. Reporting is only going to get more stringent. So those robust tracking and reporting capabilities are going to be an area of competitive advantage. And finally, more innovation in refurbishment and upgrade paths. Can you upgrade components to extend life even further? Can you optimize for specific workload types? There's really a lot of opportunity for value creation there.
Before we wrap, what's the one piece of advice you'd give an organization that's just starting to think about this more strategically?
Don't wait. The organizations that are building these capabilities now, right, the partnerships, the processes, the infrastructure, they're going to be much better positioned as AI infrastructure spending continues to accelerate. Start with a pilot program if you need to, but begin developing your cascading strategy, identifying those potential partners, and most importantly, start tracking the data you'll need for both the business case justification and the sustainability reporting. The sooner you start, the sooner you'll realize the benefits.
Excellent. Lara, I want to thank you so much for our session today, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise, Pete.
Thanks for joining us on our series on data center metrics with IDC, where we've covered trends in the data center secondary market segments and what they mean to ITADs and IT resellers. Stay tuned for our next episode with IDC with more about trends for servers, storage, and networking coming soon.
You've been listening to the Circular Integrity Show. Thanks for joining us. Don't miss our next episode coming soon, where we feature market leaders in the IT asset disposition and reseller communities. Thanks to our sponsors, Early Upgrade and MG Environmental. And special thanks to our guest, Tim Sulin of Circular Integrity. The Circular Integrity Show is produced and written by Pete Paisley. Follow Circular Integrity on LinkedIn for links to more content.